Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Cross, a psychotherapist and human behavior specialist. For past days, I've studied the hidden patterns behind desire, attraction, and emotional polarity, the invisible forces that bring people together, and just as easily, tear them apart. And there's one truth I've seen in therapy rooms, relationships, and quiet confessions that men rarely understand. Women don't always desire peace. Sometimes they crave the chaos that reminds them they're alive. They say they want safety, yet they chase the edge of danger. They claim they want devotion, yet pull away the moment it feels certain. Why? Why does the feminine heart turn away from the man who gives everything and ache for the one who gives almost nothing? Today, we are not going to talk about love in the way society defines it. We're going to explore it the way nature designed it. Raw, instinctive, psychological, because what drives desire isn't comfort, it's contrast. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you stop chasing peace in a place that only values fire. This isn't about judgment, it's about truth. The kind most people are too afraid to face. So if you've ever been the man who gave his all and still watched her drift away, if you've ever asked yourself, what did I do wrong? Then this is the conversation you were meant to hear. This is Psyche Voice, where we uncover the hidden architecture of human attraction, the dark psychology of emotion, and the reality behind what we call love. And today, we're diving deep into the dark psychology of female desire. You think women fall in love the way men do. You think if you're good enough, kind enough, patient enough, she'll choose you. But she won't. Because female desire doesn't work the way you wish it did. It's not drawn to comfort. It's drawn to chaos, to dominance, to uncertainty. Every man learns this truth the hard way, usually after his heart's been torn apart by a woman he swore was different. The truth is, women are not attracted to peace. They're addicted to the feeling of being conquered. I've seen men destroy themselves trying to win a woman's love. They sacrifice their sleep, their focus, their self-respect, all to please someone who only seems to drift further away the more they give. They mistake kindness for attraction, not realizing that the moment you start orbiting her like she's the sun, she stops seeing your light. And the worst part? You think it's your fault. You think maybe if you were richer, smarter, more romantic, she would finally see your worth. But no amount of effort can fix this, because it was never about effort. It was about polarity. Female desire is built on tension, on the unreachable, on the mystery of a man who doesn't need her validation to exist. Schopenhauer once said that love is merely nature's trick, a biological illusion that exists to continue the species. Women don't consciously choose chaos. Their biology does. Their instincts are drawn to power, unpredictability, and emotional intensity, because those qualities signal survival, dominance, and strength. You see, men desire peace. Women desire the storm that breaks it. It's not good or evil. It's just nature doing its job. Look around you. You'll notice a pattern everywhere. The nice guy who listens to her problems, supports her dreams, and treats her like a queen gets labeled as sweet. The man who challenges her, who doesn't chase, who walks away without begging, suddenly becomes the one she can't stop thinking about. It's not that women don't appreciate kindness. They just don't lust for it. They crave the emotional uncertainty that only a strong, detached man can create. Because unpredictability triggers emotion. Emotion triggers desire. And in the modern world, where everything is predictable, soft, and easy, the man who can evoke raw emotion becomes irresistible. Here's the dark twist most men can't handle. Women don't fall for who you are. They fall for how you make them feel. You could be the most decent man alive, disciplined, loyal, sincere. But if you don't awaken her primal emotions, she'll never feel attraction. And that's why good men suffer. Because they're logical in a game that runs on emotion. Attraction is not a reward for morality. It's a biological response to power. Carl Jung once said, "Every man carries within him the eternal image of woman, not the actual woman, but the inner feminine. This inner image, the idealized woman, is what drives men insane. You project it onto her, thinking she's the answer to your emptiness. You worship the illusion. You make her your purpose. But in doing so, you lose the very thing that made her desire you in the first place, your masculine center. A man who worships a woman will always lose her. Because the moment you kneel, she stops looking up to you. That's why you see her chasing men who don't even care. Men who don't text back. Men who don't promise forever. Because they represent a challenge, a mystery to solve, a mirror of her own chaos. Meanwhile, the man who gives her everything becomes invisible. She may respect him, but she'll never crave him. It's not cruelty, it's biology, and until men accept this, they'll continue to suffer in silence. Love, in its rawest form, is not peace. It's tension balanced by attraction. And women are the gatekeepers of that tension. You think she wants safety, but what she actually wants is safe danger. She wants a man who can destroy her world, but chooses not to. A man powerful enough to walk away, yet calm enough to stay when he chooses to. That balance, that quiet dominance, that's what she feels but can't explain. So what's the lesson? Stop chasing validation. Stop being the emotional caretaker for a woman who tests you, doubts you, or ignores you. You don't win her love by giving more. You win respect by needing less. Because the man who can walk away from what he desires is the man every woman secretly desires. True strength isn't in control over her. It's control over yourself. Detach from her illusion. Detach from the story that your worth depends on her attention. Become the man who doesn't seek permission to exist. That's when the polarity shifts. That's when desire returns. Because when a man stops needing her love, she starts feeling it again. This is the first layer of the dark psychology of female desire. Now it goes deeper, much deeper. Every woman tests the man she loves, not because she wants to, but because she needs to. It's the cruel paradox of female nature. The more she feels for you, the more she must challenge you to see if your strength is real, to see if your calm is unbreakable, to see if the man standing before her is a rock, or just another wave pretending to be one. You've seen it happen. At first, she was soft. She adored you. Every word from you lit her up like morning sunlight. But slowly, things changed. Her words turned sharp, her tone colder. Suddenly, everything you did wasn't enough. You tried harder, thinking effort could bring back the warmth. But the harder you tried, the more distant she became. You didn't know it then, but you were walking straight into the trap of her destruction instinct. Every woman carries within her a subconscious drive to test the man she loves. It's nature's filter, a way to separate the masculine from the mimic. Because any man can act strong when things are easy. But the true man reveals himself when she attacks his ego, questions his value, and pushes every emotional button he has. Those tests aren't random. They're instinctive, primitive. She's not testing your words. She's testing your center. When she provokes you, she's not trying to ruin you. She's trying to feel you. She wants to know if you're the same calm, composed force she first fell for, or if your confidence was just a mask. Think of the man who loses control the moment his woman pulls away. He panics, starts explaining, apologizing, chasing. And in doing so, he confirms her worst fear, that his strength was dependent on her approval. Now look at the other man, the one who doesn't react, who stays grounded, silent, watching. He doesn't argue. He doesn't beg. He simply allows her chaos to crash against him. And when the storm passes, he's still there, unshaken. Guess which man reignites her desire? The one who stayed still. Because stillness, in a world full of weak men, feels like power. In mythology, the feminine is chaos, creation and destruction in one. She builds life and tests the strength of what she builds. If it collapses, it was never meant to last. Men fear that chaos because they don't understand it. But the truth is, her chaos exists for you. It's a forge, not a fire pit. When a woman challenges you, she's unconsciously saying, "Show me that you can't be broken." Not through anger, not through words, but through presence. The more she feels your calm, the safer she becomes to be wild. Because only a strong man can handle the storm without drowning in it. Think of the man who loses control the moment his woman pulls away. He panics, starts explaining, apologizing, chasing, and in doing so, he confirms her worst fear, that his strength was dependent on her approval. Now look at the other man, The one who doesn't react, who stays grounded, silent, watching. He doesn't argue. He doesn't beg. He simply allows her chaos to crash against him. And when the storm passes, he's still there, unshaken. Guess which man reignites her desire? The one who stayed still. Because stillness, in a world full of weak men, feels like power. That's why breakups happen right after a man finally opens up. He thinks he's being vulnerable. He believes it'll bring them closer. But what she feels is the opposite. A man collapsing into her emotional world instead of standing apart from it. And women can sense that collapse instantly. Not through logic, but through energy. They may not say it aloud, but they feel when your soul bends to keep them happy. And once they feel it, respect fades, attraction dies. Here's the dark psychological truth. A woman doesn't love you because you make her happy. She loves you because you make her feel alive. And aliveness often comes from chaos, from uncertainty, from danger, from tension. She doesn't crave safety alone. She craves the edge between safety and risk. That's why she destroys, to test if you'll survive the destruction, to see if your love is strong enough to remain masculine, even in the face of emotional death. Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." The same applies here. If your purpose is higher than her approval, her chaos cannot move you. The man who lives for a woman loses himself. The man who lives for his mission becomes irresistible. Because she doesn't want to be your oxygen. She wants to breathe you in, to feel your strength, fuel her emotions. But only when you stand as your own source of air. So what do you do when she tests you? When she withdraws? When she destroys what you built together? You stay grounded. You stay calm. You stay you. You don't argue, explain, or chase. You let her feel your absence. You let her see what it means to lose a man who doesn't beg. Because every test she gives is a chance to prove your stillness. Every challenge is an invitation to deepen your strength. Understand this. Her chaos is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to refine you. When she breaks you, you have two choices. Collapse or rebuild yourself sharper. Choose the latter, because the man who survives female chaos becomes untouchable. This is the second layer of the dark psychology of female desire, the destruction instinct. But there's one more truth even deeper. A truth most men never realize until it's too late. Every love story begins with fire and ends with comfort. At first, you can't sleep. Her voice echoes in your mind like a song you can't stop playing. Every glance, every text, every moment, electric. But months later, something changes. The excitement turns to routine. The mystery turns to safety. The fire becomes a quiet, predictable warmth. And that's when desire dies. Not because she stopped loving you, but because she stopped feeling you. This is the silent heartbreak most men never talk about. You give her everything. You become reliable, responsible, consistent. You do everything right. But somehow, she's colder, less affectionate, less curious about you. You start wondering, what did I do wrong? You replay every memory, trying to find the moment it started slipping away. You remember how she once looked at you with awe, and now she looks at you like background noise. That's the death of desire. And it's not her fault. It's nature. Desire is born from distance. From the space between two worlds that are drawn together, yet never fully merge. In the beginning, that distance is natural. You're unknown to her, a mystery she wants to solve. You represent power, adventure, unpredictability. But once you make her your world, that distance disappears, and with it, the tension that fuels attraction. Human desire, male or female, cannot survive total certainty, because the unknown is what keeps the heart alive. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus once said, "Strife is justice." He meant that tension, contrast, is what keeps all things alive. Without night, there's no meaning to day. Without hunger, food has no taste. Without distance, closeness has no beauty. Desire follows the same law. It lives in the space between two souls, not in their fusion. When love becomes possession, when mystery becomes routine, when you give her everything she could ever want, She stops wanting. Not because she's ungrateful, but because nature doesn't reward certainty. You'll see it everywhere. A man chases, wins her heart, builds a life together, and then, slowly, the spark fades. He becomes predictable. He stops leading. He stops growing. He trades his edge for comfort. She starts feeling unseen, even though he's right there. Not because he stopped loving her, but because he stopped evolving. And desire feeds on evolution. It feeds on movement, growth, polarity, not stillness. The painful truth is this: what first made her fall in love with you was not your love for her. It was your aliveness, your passion, your ambition, your mystery, your refusal to be fully known. But as time went on, you tried to hold on to love by becoming safe. You thought peace would protect what passion built. You were wrong. Peace kills what chaos created. Because desire doesn't want to own you. It wants to chase you. A woman's attraction isn't static. It mirrors your energy. When you lose your mission, your depth, your hunger, she feels it. She may not understand why, but she'll feel the polarity collapsing. That's when emotional distance begins. That's when she starts questioning things she never questioned before. But the truth is, she's not losing interest in you. She's losing interest in the version of you that forgot his purpose. The masculine must always move, always grow, always lead himself first, because when you stop expanding, you become emotionally predictable, and predictability is death to passion. Think of the moments she was most drawn to you. It wasn't when you texted her all day or rearranged your life for her. It was when you were fully alive in your element, working on your dream, focused on your craft, detached from needing her response. That's when she looked at you with that quiet admiration, the look that says, he belongs to something bigger than me. And that's the paradox. When you stop trying to keep her, she starts wanting to stay. Because women don't want to be the center of your world. They want to orbit a man who already has one. So here's the deeper truth. Desire and love are not the same. Love seeks safety. Desire seeks danger. And every relationship dies when safety suffocates danger completely. That's why long-term passion is an art. It's the balance between closeness and distance, between tenderness and mystery. A woman doesn't stop desiring because she stops loving. She stops desiring when the man she fell for becomes too predictable to admire. She wants to feel you alive again, to feel your eyes seeing the world, not just her. So how do you bring it back? Not through games, not through manipulation, through presence. Reconnect with the world that existed before her. Your purpose, your hunger, your edge. Be the man who continues to grow even when he already has her love. Because growth is the purest form of attraction. Stop trying to protect love from change and let change keep love alive. When you move forward, she follows. When you lead yourself, she feels safe enough to desire you again. Desire is not a fire you guard. It's a flame you feed through your strength, purpose, and emotional distance. Stay unpredictable. Stay alive. Stay dangerous in your calm. That's how passion survives peace. That's how men keep desire from dying. This is the third layer of the dark psychology of female desire, the death of desire. But there's one final truth, the deepest of all, the truth about freedom, and how real masculine love is not possession, but presence without attachment. Now let's talk about the paradox of freedom and love, where true power begins not in having her, but in never needing to. Remember, every story ends the same way. The man who was once obsessed with winning love finally learns that peace begins when he stops needing it. Freedom is not walking away. It's walking forward without fear of being alone. Because the rarest kind of strength is to love deeply and still remain free. Most men spend years trying to keep someone beside them. They confuse attachment for loyalty, control for care, fear for devotion. They promise forever, while silently begging, please don't leave. But the moment love becomes a cage, it starts to rot. What once felt divine turns heavy. What once inspired growth now demands obedience. That's when both hearts begin to fade, not because of hate, but because of overpossession. Freedom and love are not enemies. They are two wings of the same bird. Remove one and the other can't fly. Philosophers have always wrestled with this paradox. From Lao Tzu's calm detachment to Kierkegaard's leap of faith, each came to the same conclusion. Real love cannot exist without the freedom to walk away. Control kills admiration. Freedom keeps wonder alive. A man who knows he can lose something chooses to value it differently, not with fear, with awareness. Look at any relationship that endures with passion still burning. You'll find two people who never stopped choosing themselves first. Not selfishly, but consciously. He still pursues his calling. She still grows in her own world. They meet in the middle, not because they must, but because they want to. That small distance between two independent souls becomes the oxygen of desire. Every reunion feels earned, not owed. Freedom doesn't mean indifference. It means responsibility for your own soul. When you depend on someone else to give you meaning, you hand them the keys to your peace. They can't help but disappoint you, because no one can carry another person's emptiness forever. A strong man fills that emptiness with purpose. He builds, he learns, he grows. He doesn't escape love, he transcends need. And paradoxically, that's when love finds him again. Stronger, purer, freer. The Stoics called it amor fati, the love of fate, to love what comes and to let go when it leaves. They understood that attachment breeds suffering, but presence brings peace. When you love someone while staying rooted in yourself, you stop clinging. You start appreciating. You stop demanding, stay with me. You start whispering, grow with me. That shift changes everything. It transforms love from survival into art. Think about the most magnetic people you've met. They aren't desperate for approval. They radiate calm assurance, the quiet confidence that life will remain full whether someone stays or not. That energy is intoxicating. It says, I am complete, but I choose to share myself. Women, men, everyone feels drawn to that kind of wholeness because it represents freedom in a world addicted to attachment. Love is like holding water in your hands. Squeeze too tightly and it escapes through your fingers. Hold it gently and it stays, shimmering, alive, moving. That gentle hold is freedom. It's strength without control, power without possession. To master this, a man must stand alone before he can truly stand with someone else. Here's what it all comes down to. You can't own love. You can only embody it. Stop chasing control. Start cultivating depth. Grow in silence. Protect your focus. Build something bigger than romance. Because a man whose life has direction will always be desired, not for what he gives away, but for what he is. Freedom doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. When you no longer fear losing someone, you love more honestly. When you no longer beg to be seen, your presence becomes impossible to ignore. That's the paradox of masculine power. But less you try to hold, the more the world wants to be held by you. One day you'll look back and realize, the women who left weren't punishment, they were teachers. They showed you where you still depended on others for identity. And once you learn that lesson, you'll never chase again. You'll simply live, awake, disciplined, and free. Freedom is the final form of desire. It's when love is no longer hunger, but harmony. So remember this, let her come, let her go. Stay rooted, stay present, be the calm in the storm, not the storm in search of calm. Be the man who can love fully and still walk away whole, because in the end, freedom isn't the opposite of love. Freedom is love when it no longer fears losing itself.